Speaker Newt Gingrich. Your initial thoughts this morning, Speaker?
Well, first of all, I hope all of us will extend our prayers this morning to the families who've lost loved ones and to the people who are in the hospital fighting for their lives. It's a terrible thing to wake up to on a Sunday morning, and I think has to be seen as one more tragedy. I don't know enough yet, and I'm not willing to jump ahead and assert that this is terrorism related to Islamic supremacists, despite the fact they have released the name of the man who was apparently the shooter. But I do think all of us ought to pay attention and realize that there is a pattern of people connected by the internet who are potentially very, very dangerous. And we don't have a strategy to stop them right now.
We don't. There's a lot we don't know, Mr. Speaker. I think you're right. We all need to be cautious. We do know that the FBI announced this morning that this guy apparently bragged about connections to Islamic terror groups. Don't know if those are legitimate or not, but the FBI said that. The Washington Post and the New York Times, two most important newspapers in America, did not include that in their write-ups of this story. That seems intentional and it seems dishonest. What do you suppose motivated that omission?
Well, the elites in this country are intentionally dishonest. I mean, that's part of why you have the rise of Trump and Sanders. People know that the game is rigged. They don't want to tell us the truth about the world. They don't want to tell us the truth about trade deals. They don't want to tell us the truth about who's getting payoffs in Washington. And they don't want to tell us the truth about Islamic terrorism. That shouldn't shock anybody. Why would you expect the Washington Post and the New York Times to be honest in any serious way?
And Mr. Speaker, you've seen this is a tragic incident. You're right to remind us on a Sunday morning to keep everyone in our prayers. You've seen incidents like this, and conversations are triggered by them. And on Twitter, it's happening right now, from gay rights to gun violence, to Islamic terrorism, to political correctness. How could this incident, and again, we're learning so much, we don't know everything, we're getting things in real time. How could this reset the conversation, and where should we be focused?
In part, I hope, tragically, that the gay rights movement will come to realize that Islamic supremacy is their mortal enemy. I mean, people get killed in countries that are dominated by Sharia if they are gay. And so I think in that sense, maybe this is the beginning of a new conversation about how serious a threat Islamic supremacism is. Here at home, look, we're going to have to go back and look at what Franklin Delano Roosevelt did in the 1930s to stop the Nazis. If the FBI knew that this guy was engaged with serious terrorist groups, I think at some point in the near future, we're going to have to change the law, and we're going to have to, frankly, redefine for the courts national security restrictions. And we're going to say, if we know that you're in contact with people who actively want to kill Americans, we're going to lock you up. We're not going to wait for you to go kill Americans to prove you're sincere, because you have to isolate, you almost have to cauterize the wound. We did this to the Nazis in the 1930s. We did it to the communists in the 40s and the 50s. The fact is, this is an alien ideology that wants to destroy our civilization. It is spreading by the internet, and our current approach to it is pathetically incompetent. And so you have tragedy after tragedy. I was very surprised to see how rapidly the FBI was saying that this guy was probably a terrorist. And I think that it tells you that they had been monitoring him. Well, monitoring ain't good enough if you got to wait for 20 or 30 Americans to die before you decide that it's unacceptable.
It seems more than just incompetent, though. It seems willfully dishonest. It seems like some authorities, not all, a lot of honest, good people in charge, but some are intentionally misleading the public about the nature of the threat. I just can't get past that.
Look, no, but it's straightforward. President Obama has indicated, and you saw it in the interview with the FBI agent who referred to that ideology. He couldn't use the words Islamic extremism or Islamic supremacist. He said that ideology because he would have been probably reprimanded had he actually told us the truth. The Obama administration has deliberately and willfully for 7 years tried to avoid telling the American people the truth about an ideology which is an enormous threat to our civilization and which is winning the war. I mean, the fact is, if you look around the planet, from Libya to Nigeria to Somalia to Yemen, all across to Afghanistan and Pakistan and Indonesia, we are in a worldwide death struggle with a radical movement that has explicitly said they want to destroy Western civilization, and yet our leaders, both in Europe and America, just blindly say, oh, they can't really mean it. Well, how many incidents does it take to begin to realize, yeah, they do mean it, and you better hope they don't get nuclear weapons?
Our Peter Doocy asked him